Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We're in a weather impact alert for the next few hours. Many areas are still seeing rain. Some even saw hail. We're taking a live look across the state now at Hartford, New Haven, Middletown, and Mohegan Sun.
Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now with how these storms will impact your evening. Rachel.
Well, the good news is the worst is over at this point. Some towns have reported a little bit of damage from all of the hail that came down and also some strong gusty winds in some of those storms. But overall, we are looking at improving conditions, I think, as we head through the remainder of the evening tonight. New London, Stonington, still seeing some rain, but look at all of that lightning, heavy rain, and even hail that came through earlier. That is all moving to the south. We do have a thunderstorm that's just kind of popped up here in Killingly, so we'll be watching that over the next half an hour or so. New Milford, Kent, Waterbury also getting brushed with some showers at the moment as well. However, again, this is all going to continue to slowly diminish as we head through the next couple of hours. We do still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 7, meaning that there is still a potential for severe weather from now through the next hour or so. However, they may end up dropping this early just based on the latest radar trends as everything continues to slowly dissipate. Heading through the overnight hours, temperatures will drop back into the upper 50s to low 60s as we head towards daybreak. Tomorrow looks like a really beautiful, nice and warm day, but we do have a weather impact alert again for Wednesday afternoon. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but first, let's see more about that hail that came down earlier today. Meteorologist Ryan Breton standing by. Ryan, there was enough to leave accumulation for some areas.
Yeah, hail really was the story today, Rachel, and we had a really unique kind of setup here today for this point in the summer in that it was really cold aloft. So looking at this yesterday, we thought hail may be a problem, and it was a problem in some spots. All of these areas you see highlighted here were likely impacted by some hail, but the supercell thunderstorm that produced the most hail began around New Britain, but really intensified right as it was going through Wallingford, Northford, parts of North Brantford, and the radar at one point estimating hail that could have been over 2 inches in diameter. That's more than golf ball size. And we have video that backs up that probably happened in some places around Wallingford today. Hail covering the ground, also this knocking leaves off trees and causing some damage to people's gardens and some crops too, because it was coming down so hard and fast. Here's a look at some of that hail from Mike in Wallingford. You can see the varying sizes of it. Well, why was hail such a big deal today? Well, it has to do with where the freezing level is in the atmosphere. Usually in the summer, it's higher up in the thunderstorm clouds. You can get hail to form, but usually it's smaller hail. Today, though, that freezing level was lower, which meant that the raindrops that were suspended up in the cloud were freezing and freezing and freezing again, and eventually they got heavy enough to fall out, and that's why we had the big hail around here today. Rachel's back with more on what's to come in just a little while. Brent, back to you.
Well, businesses in the areas hit hardest by last Sunday's storms, by last week's storms, are still struggling to get by. Tonight, the state is offering a helping hand, giving $5 billion to small businesses in the southwestern part of the state. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc is at Claridis Plaza in Seymour, where the announcement was made just a few hours ago.
This plaza here is still reeling from last week's storm, trying to clean up and recover. With this money, each business could get up to $25,000 worth of help. But one of the business owners in the area tells me that only covers about a week's worth of payroll, and they need more help than that.
The seawall right here was kind of washed away.
Business owners like Mike Girage, who owns Housatonic House along Route 34 in Seymour, still struggling after last Sunday's storm.
It's been like 1/10 of the business that we had. And this is peak season. You know, everybody comes out, school is out, everybody comes out during this time, nice weather. So it's been catastrophic.
Luckily, the restaurant and bar itself is structurally sound, but the seawall, the first line of defense against the Housatonic River, is damaged.
Truss cracks over here alongside the stucco, and then this part of it kind of sunk down.
But the big bust to business is this: major gaping holes along Route 34, causing closures, blocking customers from coming through.
It's tough to run a business if you can't get people to come in.
Garage now having to consider how long they can stay open, with dozens of others in the same boat. But now,
today we are announcing a $5 million grant program.
some help is on the way. The state is giving a maximum of $25,000 to each business with less than 100 people for things like cleanup, lost inventory, and lost revenue. They say the goal is to close the gap as they wait for federal funds.
The goal here is to really help these small businesses, which are the lifeblood of our economy, start the process of reopening.
Sometimes you see the scope of the tragedy, know it's really important for all of us to step up and do the right thing.
Now, as for the grants, businesses can start applying for them once the application opens on September 3rd. The state says the money could come thereafter as soon as 1 week. We are in Seymour. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Julia. New tonight, from the rubble, a story of rebuilding. People in Southbury are praising the construction crews for their tireless work to restore the roads through their neighborhoods.
And it's the same area where a tornado ripped up the landscape in 2018. Fox 61's Matt Caron has the hopeful story.
Welcome back to Georges Hill Road in Southbury. It is hard to believe that this is the same road we showed you just last week, because where I'm standing, there was no road. It was in the water. Some heroes wear capes.
I knew I'd forget his last name, but I wouldn't forget what he did for us.
Others wear vests.
But there's no pavement here.
What they did was truly amazing.
And hard hats.
Round the clock, 3 days in a row.
The last time you saw Georges Hill Road in Southbury, there was no road. Now, 8 days later.
You know the cliche, oh, they worked day and night? They worked day and night.
The man spearheading the operation, Frank Lasky, FSM Services, contracted by the DOT to repair the state road. He showed us the project.
Oh, this was bad. Yeah, because there was about 600-700 feet of road gone, 30 feet wide and about 7-8 feet deep. And the stream was nowhere near where it was supposed to be. I mean, it was in the road. So no, that was pretty amazing.
Frank and his team of 8 men had to reroute the stream bed of Kettletown Brook itself. They rebuilt the embankment, sourced and hauled the material, and graded and packed the surface. But it's what Frank did that the project didn't require that made the most impact.
When you see people walking through the brook with their children, it kind of makes you think a little bit.
Frank built a new road to connect residents who lost their private bridge, their only means of exit, to a new bridge. For Claudia Chapman, that road brought new connections in more than one way.
I've made so many new friends on the street. I've learned so much about my neighbors. It's that same wonderful feeling we had of everyone coming together.
Residents so thankful.
I can manage a lot. I'm trying to make it a little easier because these guys are fantastic. FSM is the best.
Barbara Fox and her husband set up this hospitality tent, keeping the construction crew fed and hydrated.
They come down and get us to come up and eat. Every time I turn around, there's food here.
And Frank told me the hardest part of this project was actually working within state environmental guidelines, since this is a protected waterway. All that's left now is to install the new guardrails and to pave the road surface. He's hoping to have the project wrapped up by tonight. Reporting in Southbury, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good work. All right. We'll keep following the cleanup from the flooding damage. Download the free Fox 61 News app for all those news stories. That's where we deliver the latest forecast and weather alerts right to your phone.
Manchester police are investigating a crash that left a teen dead. It happened on Buckland Hills Drive around 8:30 last night. Police say 19-year-old Michaela Theriak of Vernon was driving westbound when she hit a tree, and she later died at a hospital. Police are asking anyone who saw that crash to give them a call. And another deadly motorcycle crash on Connecticut roads, this time in Waterbury. It happened last night just after 7 near Hill Street and Pilgrim Avenue. Police say the driver, 28-year-old Jose Morales, lost control and was thrown from the motorcycle, hitting an unoccupied parked vehicle. Morales died at the hospital. Waterbury police are now investigating.
Also in Waterbury, police have made a 4th arrest in connection to a murder investigation. Jada Ellis is charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Joseph Zavala. He was shot near North Main and Kingsbury Street back in November. He died 2 days later. Police have already arrested Dwayne Mercer, Nigel Robinson, and a 16-year-old.